Welcome to 13 Degrees of Screams,
where we scream so you don't scream.
We're your host, Alex.
And Stephanie.
And this week, we send ourselves to prison to starve in The Platform.
Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to be notified when we post new episodes.
The Platform, in Spanish, The Hole, is a 2019 Spanish dystopian thriller film directed by Galder Gotelu Urrutia. In a prison where inmates are fed on a descending platform, those on the upper levels take more than their fair share while those below are left to starve on scraps, and one man decides to change the system. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has 81% with a critical consensus that states, while it may feel muddled at times, The Platform is an inventive and captivating dystopian thriller. It also has a 73% audience score.
Goring awakens in a cell marked 48, sharing it with a man, Trimagasi. Even though we find out Goring came to this place willingly, we still get a hefty exposition dump with a lot of questions and answers. His companion explains they are inside a vertical prison known as the Pit, a tower filled with hundreds of levels, each containing 2 inmates. Every day, a platform laden with food descends from the top, pausing briefly at each level.
Goring learns that those above do not respect those below, as Trimagasi often spits or urinates on the food as it descends into the lower levels, claiming that those above are doing the same to them. Okay, so everyone's literal sloppy seconds, but worse? Disgusting.
You're nasty.
Prisoners may only eat while the platform rests on their floor. Keeping food results in deadly temperature shifts. Each month, the inhabitants are randomly reassigned to a new level because this place definitely cares about being fair and giving opportunities.
Obviously.
Goring soon has the realization that there isn't enough food being shared to reach the lower levels, and Trimagasi recounts a horrifying ordeal on level 132, where starvation drove him and a cellmate to cannibalism. The guy jumps, so not a big deal, according to him?
Yeah, they seem to be out of chicken today, so I'll just pick up a pizza. It's no big deal.
A mysterious woman named Miharu occasionally descends on the platform. She is rumored to kill her cellmate each month in hopes to be reunited with her child and rides the platform searching for them. This is not Chuck E. Cheese. How did her kid get in here?
So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife.
Goring shares that he entered the facility voluntarily for 6 months in exchange for a diploma. While doing an intake interview, he was asked about his favorite food and allowed to bring one item inside with him. He chose the book Don Quixote. Trimagasi is insulted that Goring gets to earn a diploma, and he doesn't, as he's serving a sentence for manslaughter. Did I mention he chose to bring a knife?
Let me see what you have! A knife! No!
Their next assignment is level 171. Knowing that they will become desperate and starved, Trimagasi restrains Goring with plans to survive off of his flesh if no food arrives in 8 days. On the 8th day, he begins the grisly act. But Miharu arrives, assaults Trimagasi, and sets Goring free. In the struggle, Goring kills Trimagasi. Urged by Miharu and driven by necessity, he consumes the body but is tormented by haunting visions of Trimagasi afterward.
A new month places Goring on level 33 with Imaguri, an administrator that originally interviewed him. Now terminally ill, she volunteered for the Pit herself and brought her dog Ramses II, who is a goner, do not get attached. She only eats on alternating days, allowing her dog to eat in between, and she tries to encourage those below to ration. She explains that there are 200 levels, and if everyone only took what they needed, there would be enough food to go around. Do you think these people cared? Take a wild guess.
Miharu appears once more, badly injured. Goring and Imaguri nurse her back to health. During the night, Miharu kills the dog and disappears again once the platform returns. What the actual fuck, Miharu? I was rooting for you.
I thought we were friends.
Goring defends her actions, but Imaguri insists she interviewed Miharu and she came to the Pit alone. There are no children below 16 there.
The next morning, Goring wakes up on level 202, discovering that Imaguri has taken her own life. Once again, starvation drives him to consume flesh, and visions of his past cellmates begin to haunt him. He's eventually reassigned to level 6 alongside Baharet, a devout man determined to escape the Pit. He asks the next level up for help, and they seem like they are definitely not going to help, but he believes them. He gives them a rope to pull himself up, and they defecate on his face, nearly causing him to fall to his death. Man, these people are nasty.
Dishonor! Dishonor on your whole family! Make a note of this. Dishonor on you! Dishonor on your cow!
Goring saves him and proposes a radical idea. They descend together, distributing food fairly as they go.
They deny the upper levels any portions, reasoning that they eat daily, and resort to violence when necessary. An older prisoner, Senior Brombyang, advises a more peaceful strategy: send back one untouched dish, a panna cotta, as a message to the facility's administrators.
As they descend, they face opposition and violence. Miharu is found being attacked, and although they intervene, she dies. Good, justice for Ramses.
Good news, everyone!
Injured and exhausted, Goring and Baharat reach level 333, where they discover a young girl, presumably Miharu's daughter. Despite earlier claims to the contrary, they feed her the panna cotta and stay with her as the platform continues downward. This girl has no idea what's going on and doesn't look like she gives a shit.
That night, Baharat whispers the girl is the message. Goring wakes, only to realize it was a dream. Baharat has died from his injuries. Goring boards the platform with the child and descends to the lowest level. There he has one final vision of Trimagasi, who tells him the message doesn't need a messenger. Goring steps off, watching as the platform rises, carrying the girl upward. Wow, this has been a depressing experience.
Are you ready to talk about our ratings?
Yeah, let's do it.
What did you give plot?
I gave plot a 2. I thought it was an interesting concept, I guess. But let's just say, I watched this a few years ago and I was just super disappointed. I don't know what was the different mindset to a few years ago, but this was so bleak, depressing. Just anything bad happens, I'm like, well, of course. And I didn't feel any hope, even with the message portion of it. I just didn't feel like there was any point to the whole thing. It was just bad from every angle. How about you?
I gave plot a 2 as well. I said the situation we find our characters in is truly a horrifying one. The constant dread of wondering what floor you will end up on each month is enough to instill a lot of fear, let alone the idea of what you will have to do to survive should you find yourself on a lower level. However, while I understand the message behind the film, whether heavy-handed or not, I would like to believe not every person in the facility would have been as horrible as they were. Maybe I'm a little naive, but I would hope the real world would be a little more kind than this depressing and downer of a film.
Agreed. It's just bad all around, and everyone that he interacts with is doing something terrible that he just kind of ends up altering himself too. So then he has taken on these bad portions of each of these people to continue on perpetuating violence to the people below them or whatever. It's just a never ending cycle, which I guess that's kind of the meaning of it with the capitalism symbolism. But yeah, that's why it's just such a downer.
I know. It's everyone sucks in this movie. Everyone. Maybe the administrator lady, yeah, she was part of the problem. She kind of maybe trying to redeem herself, and towards the end when they're trying to give the message. So there is glimpses of hope, but we all know ultimately it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what happens after the girl
gets sent up too. I watched it with Matt and Charlie, and they were like, there's a good chance that this girl isn't even going to survive getting up to the level 0 where they're at. She'll just fling herself into the wall and be dead.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. That platform rises so quickly that once it stops, her body's going to keep going.
Right.
And she's going to splat. That thing's going 100 miles an hour at least.
Yes.
Upward.
It makes sense to write it down because it's going slow to not spill anything, but they don't care about the cups and stuff after everything's done.
Right. That's a lot of China they have to keep buying.
Yes. And I also do find it was funny to watch those in the administration and the chefs and stuff like that so meticulously make this perfect meal that they are all just going to shit and piss on. And just devour without any appreciation for the meal, aside from the fact that we need it so we don't starve.
Right. And then what are your thoughts along the same vein? The message was the panna cotta. Okay. So they lift it up and there is one meal left. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think they would actually give a shit, or do you think they would see that as a message?
I guess so, because they cut away to one scene where the chefs are all freaking out because they find a hair in the dish that's about to go out. And they're yelling at them. It's all cut with music and stuff like that. So you can't really hear what's being said, but you get the idea that they would really care intensely if they didn't eat all the food. But I don't know. I feel like maybe they'd be like, well, maybe we're giving them too much, so we have to cut a dish. I just don't feel like they would get that either way. I don't even think they'll get it with the child either. They were allowing her to be down there. They must have seen her. They monitor the rooms to make sure no one steals anything because they change the temperature to kill them if they decide to try to keep anything from the platform. So obviously they're seeing all the cells.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I don't know, because they're going to see the girl be like, all right, get back down there kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
and
her mom's dead, so where's she going to go?
Right. I mean, probably anywhere is better than here, to be honest. But it's interesting because the administrator was lied to about like how many floors there actually were.
Right,
So,
I
like,
was going to bring that up too. Like, she only thought it went to 200, so obviously she was like middle management. She didn't get to know all of it.
right. So, like, who would... it's just so many questions. Like, who would even see this girl come up? Like, who's responsible? They obviously see what's going on, and they are allowed to basically do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They say that in the film, except for, like, keep food on their floor. But anything else is like fair game.
Right.
I just wish we knew more of what the hierarchy,
the administration's thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, like you get no insight to that at all.
I also would like to know their idea on like keeping people that are in prison because they did a bad thing versus people that are being in prison because they want to get a degree, and like how there's no difference there. So they're housed together. So, the first cellmate he has is a crazy murderer. And they have like a good month when they're first on like the higher level. But as soon as it gets dicey, then that's when it all hell breaks loose. I just feel if the goal for like some people is to just get out and get a degree, the level of risk just doesn't make sense. And I guess obviously he didn't know all of the facts going in, but the administration does.
Right.
So
I think it's one of those things, because there's so many like potential themes in this movie. It almost feels like a predatory lending type situation. Like, yeah, you could get this degree, but like you're not going to know what you're going to have to go through to get it, kind of a thing.
Right.
Like, obviously it's not apples to apples here, but just thinking about what all this could potentially mean.
Right.
Like
Plus, like the arbitrariness of getting a degree. Like he didn't do any classes or anything for it. He's just reading Don Quixote and starving. So
what
he has a
degree are you
but
getting?
no knowledge, essentially, of what the degree is.
But maybe.
I mean, I guess that's what college is anyway. But
I was about to say, maybe that's just more commentary on like, yeah, you just need a degree to get a job.
Just need
who
a piece
cares
of paper.
what it is?
Right.
I wish I did a little bit more research into this, but I think the director was like, there's not actually that much of a deep meaning to this film. It's just kind of what you see is what you get. But there's like so many like message boards on like what this means, or like the fact there's 333 floors times 2, 666. Is this hell? Like,
I would say so, considering the rampant cannibalism.
Oh God, can I say, all right, the cannibalism is that one topic in a movie where I'm like, fuck no. I was watching this like through my fingers. I had a blanket up to my eyes. This is the second time I've actually watched this film. The first time I watched it, sick.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Honestly.
I got so sick. I was like, when I saw this on the list, I'm like, oh hell, this is going to be an interesting experience. I was okay this second time, but
I don't know what happened to my perspective after the first time, but I have my theories after I talk about like why I didn't give it the special point. But spoiler. But I ate dinner before watching this, and I just felt so uncomfortable. Just the thought of like, forget all of the piss and shit and everything. just the fact of having to eat after everybody else. Like, they're on like floor 30 something to start, or 48,
something like
and that's considered a good floor, considering that almost 100 people had touched that food before them. And I'm like just dying inside with that idea.
Like, even the thought of a buffet.
I don't really love a buffet either.
I will eat it, but like if I really think about the people going through the line, kind of grosses me out, let alone this. And
Same
it's one
here.
of those things, like, you kind of, if you get hungry enough, you won't care.
Right.
But on the outside looking in, horrifying, the worst.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Right. I think it would be funny if someone was, my one item is I'm going to bring an apple or like a bag of apples, and that's going to be my apple for the month or whatever. People would fight you for those apples.
You have to lug in there.
I don't know.
I'm in there
like
for a year.
Yeah.
So
something.
365 apples, it's fine.
Something. I just wonder if that would be allowed if they asked for one food item that they could kind of like store away and be like, this is my just in case meal.
I don't know. Who knows? Probably not.
But you'd have to kind of know going in that you weren't going to have food.
Mm-hmm.
What did you have for the suspense?
I gave suspense a 1. I said the movie is slower paced than edge of your seat thrill ride. However, certain scenarios we find our main character in does turn the screw. Most notably, the scene where Trimagasi ties up Goring and threatens to eat him piece by piece. It was very tense, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
So I had to give it at least a 1. It's just more bleak. But what did you have it?
I gave it a 2. I said the threat of slowly being cannibalized by your crazy cellmate is terrifying. However, I knocked it down a point because as we see our main character experience the lower levels, the more we see how some form of cannibalism is almost inevitable to survive on the lower levels. The only other times I felt tense was when they tried to interact with people from other levels just because of the unpredictable nature. But we literally start off in a cell with a murderer, so how much worse can it get?
Exactly. We find out pretty quickly that all these people, not all of it, but what we see, most of these people are the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So I just assumed the worst from these people. I'm not like, are they going to try to attack me? Yeah, probably. Are they going to be a piece of shit? Yeah, probably. So I'm not like questioning it. It's more of a relief when you find out they're not.
Yes. Honestly, I was kind of getting pissed off too that like he was so fucking sleepy. He was a sleepy little boy. Everybody would wake up before him every single time. Every time there was a room change, anything happened, he was the last to wake up and something terrible had happened. And I was like, well, man, you got to get with it. Like
that would be me though. Without an alarm, I'd be like, it'd be like 2 days after we switched rooms.
Who are you?
Oh, hi. What floor are we on? There's a chunk of my leg missing already at that point.
I was so eepy.
I'm so tired.
I mean, granted, I'm hard to wake up too, but like I feel like the stress and like intensity of the situation would make me very paranoid, and I'd like snap up at any situation after a while. I'd
have a hard time just falling asleep.
Yeah,
let alone staying asleep.
Because even like when his first cellmate Trimagasi were like on good terms, the man's still sleeping with a knife to his chest like every night and stuff like that, just like picking his ears with it, just like as if it's his hand.
Mm-hmm.
So no.
Yeah, no, I would not trust nobody, never. It would be one of those situations where my body would just shut down probably.
Yeah.
At some point. It's like you have to sleep. You have no choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I feel like overall it's just slower paced to me. I mean, there's just a bunch of people talking around in a cell.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just like some moments of like, or like when Miharu is being attacked. You know, but at that point I'm like, well, someone's going to die. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is it going to be?
And she's kind of a badass though too. Like we see her take out 2 people on another level and she gets back on the platform like nothing ever happened and keeps
shows
going.
No emotion. Yeah. She's just on a mission.
Mm-hmm. And also the thing I want to point out too is like, even though he interacts with different people, they are all still overall the same, just bad in their own ways. And Matt made a good point. He was like, this would probably be a better short story kind of film, like maybe an hour or something or less, but like an hour and a half, like just so dreary, so depressing. But like maybe this could have been like a short.
Agreed. Yeah. Cause at some point you get it. Like I get it. I don't have to see him waking up again and see him eating like,
yeah,
you're beating a dead horse at this point kind of a thing. So by the end of it, I'm like, I wouldn't say I was bored per se, but I was like, okay, let's get the ball rolling a little bit.
We get it. No one cares. It's only bad. Like,
yeah.
So
is there a message? Who knows? Who cares at this point? Which is like kind of complacent in the let's not even bother doing anything kind of situation. Like, let's move this along.
Right.
What did you have for atmosphere?
I gave it a 2. I said not a bad concept for a location, but feels a little bland. It's just a vertical tower of stone cells, and the platform coming through is the only interesting thing happening. But I have to admit, having to eat after multiple people who did God knows what to your food makes me queasy. I would be dead for sure.
Yeah, I'd jump.
Yeah, honestly, for sure. I'd jump on the higher levels. I'd be like, this is disgusting.
Level 2.
After
Someone
level 10,
touch
I'm like,
this.
no. I can only be 10 and up. I don't think I could trust it any other way.
Exactly.
How about you?
I gave it a 1. I said I wouldn't describe that atmosphere as scary. Rather, it's a bleak, cold, sometimes hot, stone series of cells that plunge deeper and deeper down. Not much to see and even less to eat. It's not much to look at. It's just stone. I think there's a bathroom in there and a sink maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's essentially just like an open cell. Like, they have to wash up and stuff in front of each other. Just like a prison cell, but except there's a moving platform.
Mm-hmm. Which, the platform, how does that work? It's like magically floating down.
Yeah. I that is funny too to think about. And then, like, obviously it accelerates once it gets down to the bottom, and it doesn't land on a spring or anything to, like, project itself back up. It's just magically there.
Yeah, it's just vibes. It moves by vibes only.
Yeah. Honestly, too, you'd think for a prison, they would be more focused on trying to keep them in their designated cells. But, like, Miharu is just, like, every month, just riding the platform, doing whatever the fuck she wants.
I know. I do think it's interesting that they are essentially allowed to do whatever they want in there.
Yeah, it's just like, just stay in there. I don't care.
Yeah, the only rule is like not being able to keep food.
Yeah.
Anything else goes. It's like crazy.
Right.
Like I would climb up to the top floor and be like, "Hi, can we have 3 people on the first floor this month?"
Right.
They would not allow that, but
That would be something, though. If you got like a big group and you were like, no, we're all being on the first floor because I say so. How do you stop that, really? Unless they have weapons or something like that. Like some people chose really silly things. Like one level they pass when they're descending to hand out food fairly. Just 2 naked men sitting in like a little kiddie pool. I'm like, that's such a weird thing to bring.
There was like a surfboard. Someone had a surfboard. Like,
yeah.
What do you think is in here that will allow you to use that item?
Right.
No.
Even like Trimagasi, like bringing a knife, you think he's picking it for protection. His background story is so arbitrary for like why he wants it. He's like, my knife isn't as sharp as this one I see on TV. And he killed a man over it. He was like, so frustrated.
Materialism.
Yeah, and then he's like, but now I have my knife, so cool.
Yeah, this is great.
And based on my life experience, I'm not able to see who would need a knife like that. But I might be wrong. What if my life sucks because my knives are not sharp? If purchasing a Samurai Max would make my life whole? Don't you get it, Goring? It's the little things, the details.
You bought it.
Obviously, I bought it.
What did you have for the villain aspect?
I gave it a 2. I did think this was a highly avoidable situation by our main character as he chose to go in.
Yeah.
However, once he was in, it was all downhill from there. I do have some questions about the escapability of this thing, as I would think someone would have tried to ride up the platform at some point, or even ride down like Miharu, but I guess we'll never know. I feel like most people would try to go back up, but we don't see
like,
that.
What's the result of that, too? Do you make a statement? Do they like, oh, no one's ever rode up before, you can go? Like, why wouldn't they knock you out and put you back down and be like, don't do it again?
They probably would. Which is why I wish they
went far enough to show us in some way what would happen. But I guess that would just make it even more bleak if that was the answer.
Right.
I think you need that like speck of hope at the end.
Maybe. And I go back and forth of being like overly explained something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What did you get? What did you have for Villain in Danger?
I gave it a 2. Essentially, everyone's the villain here. Even the main character contributes to the cycle of violence, and I'm sure the administration is well aware of what's going on, as something must monitor them to make sure they don't keep food from the platform, and it knows to pass rooms if the cellmates on the level have died. So the sending a message thing seems kind of pointless to me.
Mm-hmm. We kind of talked about, like, what's the message?
Yeah.
We don't like this, actually.
Yeah, I think it's just like, we don't care for your capitalism.
We don't care for your capitalism. That actually kind of does bring me to one point that I want to talk about. The administrator says she believes that there's 200 floors, and thus there's enough food for everyone.
If
when
they
in reality,
take only what they need. Yeah.
That's not even true. If everyone takes what they need, there isn't enough.
Right.
And they know that. But what also doesn't make sense is they ask you for one dish going in, and they're like, "Well, add it." So in theory, if everyone, there should be enough for everyone, because if they add that one dish, everyone said there's at least one dish for everyone.
That's true. But it's not like every day, though. Like, he only sees the snails, I think, and calls it out like one time.
Is that,
so I think they're just alternating the menu. They're trying to make it seem like, oh, it's like a special thing. But really, no, it's just a one-time deal, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe
like,
I
we put it on the
then.
menu for you, like we said, but not exactly in the way you wanted.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes more sense, because I was like, in theory, if they make the same thing every day and everyone got to pick a dish, there should be enough. But that makes sense. So then they're even doubly bad because they know there's not enough food.
Yeah, I think this is almost like a menu level of like intensity in the chefs and stuff like that. Like, they want to create art to send down to these people in the worst situation in their lives, but they don't even like connect that that's happening.
Yeah.
Like, they're just so messed up.
Do you think they're like going down and enjoying this? Like, they're just having a nice little drink in their little dish? No, that's not what's happening. They're stepping in your food, shitting and pissing in your food.
Every day.
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
And they were flipping out over a hair.
Yes.
So that's an interesting kind of thing there with, like, they were so meticulous in making it, but like once it gets to the people, it's destroyed.
Yeah. It's essentially trash. Like, they might as well just send down trash. But yeah.
So I guess if you had to ultimately pick, like, who's the villain of this movie, who would you choose?
I don't know. I guess Trimagasi is one of the worst ones, at least out of the people that I'd want to room with. Obviously, Maharu isn't like anything to bat an eye at either. Like, if you wake up with her, she's going to kill you. So she has the opportunity to room with her daughter later. So I don't know. I just feel like everyone's a gamble because you don't know what floor you're going to end up on. Like, you could be like on 2 and having the time of your life. Only 2 people ate before you. But if you end up in like 333, crazy shit about to go down. It doesn't matter how nice the person is.
Oh, yeah, I know. At some point, you literally have to cannibalize each other. Just like, in a literal sense.
What are you going to do?
Right, yeah.
I don't know. What about you? Do you have like an ultimate villain?
Well, not anyone in the actual whatever that thing's called, the cells, whatever.
Well, obviously it's the administration, though, doing it to them.
I was curious. Okay, yeah, that would be my choice.
I thought you meant like out of the worst people locked up.
No, that's fair. So I'll answer that one then too. I would probably say Trimagasi too. That's his name, right? Yeah, the guy with the knife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I had to pick. Although Miharu, that was interesting because, like, even though they were nice to her, she killed the dog. I'm like, you know what? No, her. She killed a dog. She's the worst.
I don't know. And I also, like, wonder what, like, her situation was. Like, I don't know what floor she got off of, but to kill the dog, you would think she was starving or something like that, and that's why she did it. I mean, she rode down on the platform. She could have been eaten the whole time.
Right.
Longer than everybody else.
Yeah, her situation was so strange to me.
Mm-hmm. And, like, how were they separated? Like, why were they separated? That
why
I don't
are they
understand.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many questions. And I wanted to root for her, but literally when she killed the dog, I'm like, well, no.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm not about this anymore. I hope you never find your kid. Goodbye.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding. I mean,
Fuck you.
kind of. Fuck you. You killed the dog for no reason.
That is kind of fair. But honestly, it was also on the administrator lady for bringing the dog. I was like, what the like, you know the situation at least a little bit more than people you're letting in.
Yeah.
Why bring a dog?
Unless she doesn't. Like, maybe literally her only role was to just interview people. Maybe. And she knows nothing. I mean, again,
but she knows about the portioning and stuff like that, and that's why she tries to make it happen. Like, she knows that people will starve if she doesn't try to, like, enforce that.
Yeah, well, maybe. So, just to give her the benefit of the doubt, maybe she in her head, there's only 200. Maybe she didn't know the extent of what people were doing until she got there.
Yeah,
and then she's like, "Oh, these people are not following like any sort of etiquette here."
No,
and she's like, "Fuck, I made a mistake."
But to argue that point further, though, she does choose to room with Goering because he brought a book, and she was like, I figured a person that brought a book would be nice. No one ever brings a book.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah,
did
that's true.
kind of hope that he would be the nicer ones out of all the possible people. to
Yeah,
bring.
for sure. No, she definitely fucked up, but I'm just trying to like think of like, because she went, like, she's terminally ill, so I think that's part of the reason why she went down there. But like,
Yeah.
how little do you know to like, at what point do you know too much where you're like, I'm never going in there?
Right.
Like, she has to think it's not as bad to allow herself to go in there. I don't
And
know.
why do you want to die here? Like, this is not
Repentance.
the ideal. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe she did know everything and she felt bad, so she's like, I got to make this change. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's interesting.
Hmm.
But in any case, yeah, like, everyone sucks. In summation, everyone sucks in this movie. Except maybe the Barrett guy.
Yeah, he
Not too bad.
seemed genuinely good, but almost too naive. I was like, these people are not going to help you.
But also, I wanted to bring up the part where he was like, it felt like he was almost using his religion to manipulate
Yeah,
the characters.
a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I forgot specifically what he said.
He did promise the upper level. He said that he had like a spiritual connection with God, and they were like, which God? He's like, the only God. And
Yeah,
he's like, okay, what did they tell you? And he's like, they said whoever would help me would be promised eternal life. And I'm like, well, obviously
That's not true.
that's not happening. But
So that's kind of messed up that he did
yeah,
that too.
I mean, still to shit on him like is pretty bad.
Oh yeah, that's bad. It's all bad. Oh, it's terrible. Did you give the movie your extra special point?
I didn't. I said I was actually really disappointed by this movie. I saw it a few years ago and thought I liked it at the time, but now I'm not so sure if I blocked it out. Either way, I'm going to blame the pandemic because I remember watching it with a friend shortly after the restrictions started to ease up, and maybe I was just so happy to spend time with another human I left with a more positive experience from it. This time around, I just found it so gross and bleak, and I was like, couldn't wait for it to be over. How about you?
Interesting. I did want to make a point because we talked about if we've seen this before, and you said yeah, and I'm like, why did she put this on here then?
I don't remember it being a bad time the first time. Like I watched it like as a small group. Maybe that's why it made it a little bit more bearable. But
yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
and also it is an interesting concept. So
yeah.
But I did give it the point, and I said, while I find this movie more gross than anything else, I will always give a movie a point if it had me watching through my fingers and at times behind a blanket. So because I really had to look away and couldn't watch this movie like all the way through, I'm like, I'll give it a point.
That's fair.
So yeah, it's not like a terrible movie, but it's so bleak. It's so depressing. The ending gets a little confusing with the message. So I think it's worth a watch. I do think maybe the themes are a little heavy-handed at times, and they go through monologues about
the message.
Yeah. So I think
it gets very exposition heavy too in the beginning with all the questions, and you're just surprised by how much he doesn't know. He acts as if like they just kidnapped him and put him here.
Yeah.
But obviously that didn't happen. So
exactly.
You're like, I guess it's for our benefit, but
yeah, I think it's worth a watch. Just don't expect anything too amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, adding up the totals, I gave it a 7 and you gave it an 8. So right in the middle there. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, giving us a 5-star rating is super helpful and we'll always appreciate it. If you are watching the YouTube version, you could like and comment on this video and let us know what you'd like us to cover next.
You can find us on social media using 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.